maybe that's the difference. I'd like to think it's not.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. Here with us we have head coach Gary Smith, coach George Thompson tonight.
Well, I suspect you would imagine my frustration at conceding 2 set-piece goals. Aside that, I felt as though the performance was very competitive on the back of a good result against Philadelphia. There was some good confidence in the group, some nice opportunities, and obviously we trod the line of getting that all-important 3rd goal. It looked like VAR got the decisions right, which is a little bit disappointing, but you know, after going a goal down, the response was incredibly good, and I have to say, 2-1 early in that 2nd period, and then mounting some really good pressure. I couldn't see anything but a win from the group. The real disappointment is nothing to do with how the guys have gone about their business tonight, creating chances. They've been pretty good with the ball in a rivalry game and dominated in most areas. Dealing with their balls. Can't deal with their balls. Can't deal with corners. Can't deal with free kicks coming in from wide areas. Then you know there's a serious problem, and it's not been an Achilles heel of ours for a long, long time. But you know it's certainly proven to be a real disappointment tonight.
Thank you, Coach. We will now open the floor for questions. We will begin with Ben.
Gary, it feels like last year these are the types of goals that you didn't concede, and now they're coming back to bite you. Do you think, is it just bad luck, or what do you think the difference is between this year and last?
No. I don't base anything on luck, Ben. I think there's some disappointing defending. You know, maybe situations where guys were a tad more focused and sensed a little bit more danger. I don't think the deliveries or anything that anyone's throwing at us is any different. There's certainly a big difference when Walker's in the group, and you know he of course is very aggressive aerially, but I do think you know maybe there's a little lack of guidance and belief when you know he's not around. But he ain't going to be around. You know, I'm not going to be able to magic him back here. So you know, we have to find a solution. And tonight was hugely disappointing. I honestly, I can't tell you how deeply disappointed I am. Probably more so than I've ever been since I've been here. Now, listen, we haven't lost. I'm absolutely delighted with the way the guys have gone about their business. I said it at the start. We've shown some very good form here. We've shown some great character here. When we've got a goal down, a team that you would suspect would maintain possession, their stats, even missing bodies. They've got a very talented group still on the field. I'm just absolutely flattened by our inability to deal with 2 dead balls. That's it.
We went with the back 3 again tonight, gave a long run out to Jaleel for, I believe, the first time this year. What was behind the decision to go with that formation, and how did you think it performed during the run-off play?
Listen, I truly felt that the weekend's performance gave us some nice dimensions. I honestly thought that against Philadelphia and the way that they played, that the personnel and how we were going to go about our business might help us. I think it did in certain areas of the game, but tonight, you know, a lot of what Atlanta can achieve and create from some very, very aggressive wing-back areas, I would say, and they play with this, you know, hybrid scenario with Sosa as a midfielder and a centre-back, and it gives them some nice flexibility. But what you know out of that is that the 2 wide players, the full-backs, become very, very aggressive. And the stats tell us that Lennon is a real source of creativity. We were able to, really, I thought, extinguish that and create enough of our own. They've had 2 shots on goal. 2. They've scored 2 goals.
Particularly in relation to Tim's question, obviously you're pretty high on Alex, and trying him at that wingback spot for what seemed to be the first time last game. How did you feel about more the defensive responsibility at the wingback position, obviously partnering with Jack on that side as well?
Yeah, the big difference from this game to Philadelphia was the shape that Atlanta played. And I always felt that the 2 wide players, fullbacks, wingbacks, whatever you want to call them, were going to cancel each other out a little bit. And if you looked at the way that the game went, that's what happened. We weren't able to get Lovitz in the game much, they weren't able to get Lennon in the game, but there were many other areas that I felt we'd take advantage, and we did for good portions of the game. Alex's role when he came on gave us a little bit more of an aggressive look. He was positive, he's a natural wide player, wants to get forward, got great energy. And he's a very robust individual. So, I didn't see any problems there. I mean, the reason for the change really was to try and get an attacker on there and really get an area that they were lacking. It didn't work out that way in the final exchanges. And I have to look at maybe some of the choices I made and maybe a bit of a situation where some fluidity was lost in our attacking play. But what I wanted to try and achieve then was to get as many goal-scoring players on the field as possible, in the hope in that final 10 minutes that one of them would smell an opportunity and recover the game for us.
Gary, I think this is the 4th 2-2 result this season in 12 games. And I think you were behind in all 4 of those games, but also in all 4 maybe finished on the front foot, probably closer to a 3rd goal. Are you encouraged when you think back on these things because of what it says about your team that you do fight back and you do have more left at the end? Or is it disappointing to not get the result?
I honestly think it's mixed emotions, of course. We conceded very, very few goals here last year. But if you look back at our style of play in the early stages, there was a lot of real concern about offering up too much to other teams and finding a foundation, which everyone saw, and it served us well. I'm extremely encouraged by our attacking play. Hanny and Randall and CJ were a constant threat tonight. Had some really nice opportunities. Didn't always find the final effort at goal that was going to be instrumental, but still the ability that they have to and offered up some more freedom has given them the chance now to really express themselves. So I'm comfortable with that. I mean, look, let's be honest tonight. Let's take out the 2 set pieces, and it's a dominant display. They have a wide free kick in the early exchanges that, of course, is not dealt with at all well, and a corner late on or into the final third of the game. Aside that, I don't remember Joe being tested. I really don't. I don't even remember thinking, oh, they're building some pressure here. This, I can feel, a different sort of mentality about them. I don't know what to say to you, Gentry. All I can tell you is this. In my experience, when teams concede goals, there's an underlying feel to that and a reason. And that can be, maybe a shift in mentality to be more creative. It can be personnel, of course. It can be flippancy about, the second year in the league. I can tell you this flat out, it's not the 3rd one. There's no issues or problems with the group in terms of their mentality and character, as you rightly pointed out. And you know, you may think I'm sitting here being a little bit dour and down and disappointed about still being unbeaten at home. But as I've said to the guys in there, you know, I think we've squandered 3, 4, 5 points here, minimum. And if you want to draw the line and set your standards at, okay, we're going to be competitive. Well, everyone knows we're going to be competitive. I don't think there's a team in the league that doesn't expect us to be competitive. But if you set your standards at being, you know, a top 6 team, challenging, we could have gone second tonight. That disappoints me. It disappoints me, not in the display, but in the way we dealt with the dead ball situations. It's a small area of the game, but so valuable.
Before we continue with a couple of follow-up questions, Coach, earlier this afternoon we had the opportunity to introduce Caleb to the club. This is the first opportunity that we have to hear from you about what does it mean to bring him on board.
Well, look, I mean, first and foremost, he's obviously the you know, most marquee signing that we've had in our very short history, and I've got to say, this lad has some serious ability, eye for goal, explosive pace, and probably a lot of qualities that would put forward into, you know, the top brackets of attacking players in this league. His exploits in Ligue MX have been terrific, and he's still at a very good age to continue his development and add what I believe to be a really important dynamic to this team. And if you look at one or two of the things that went on tonight, there is a difference between being creative and scoring goals. And the ones that actually put it in the back of the net are worth a lot of money.
Thank you, Coach. Then go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said thank you, Coach.
Gary, on a more positive note, it felt like this was maybe Brian Anunga's best performance I've seen. Can you talk about him and Dax in midfield?
Look, everyone's going to wake up in the morning and they're going to look at my interview and go, you know, why has he been such a grouch? You're absolutely right. There's some really good displays out there tonight, which makes it all the more disappointing. Brian was terrific. Second start, first 90 minutes in a good while, strong, you know, looked assured in the midfield area there. And there were, you know, multiple other displays. I mean, look, Jalil started and played his first 90 minutes for the group this year, and he's not seen a lot of time on the field. And he shows the sort of character and you know, constitution that you would expect from such a senior pro as he is, to get us back on level terms. You know, I've seen many a player who has been in the background, overlooked and disappointed beyond belief about their lack of inclusion. And when they're called upon, they are so flat, there's no raising them. This guy's got a different personality. He's a good pro. He's a great teammate, and when called upon, he was there for everyone, and he performed very well tonight. I could go on and on. There were some great individual performances, so I'm ever so pleased about that. And I would never want. I wouldn't want you to walk away and think, you know, when I don't win, I'm like a spoiled child. You know, we deserve to win, so I'm off. It's not that. You understand the frustration. We've been very good tonight in a lot of areas, and I've been really pleased with a lot of displays, but we still haven't come away with all 3 points. I looked at their expected goal tally, which is 0.3, and they scored 2 goals. So you can't help me from being, you know, a little dejected about that.
With that, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Are we bringing the